my name is Cynthia Novak, a professional astrologer in Arlington, Texas, and I'm coming to you with August's planets and you from my front yard garden. It may be August recess for the legislative branch of our government, but August is one of the most exciting months that we have this year. I can't even begin to talk to you about the month of August without telling you the news I heard about the new moon from July 27th. In fact, the July 27 new moon in 2014 is so exciting, and I just learned recently that the planetary configuration of the moon, sun, and Jupiter in a Vedic astrology lunar mansion called Pusha is supposed to predict the birth of a great being or great person who will come to help us sort out this mess of the difficult cycles we're in. You may wait for that new person to come, or we can be conscious and take our time to integrate the excitement and the opportunity of release and rebirth and bring it into our daily lives right now. I mean, as soon as you hear this, can you imagine the planet Jupiter, the great guru, teacher, trainer, storyteller? He's in his favorite constellation of all, the constellation Cancer in the sidereal or Vedic zodiac. The sun joined him on July 27th. And each month, the sun and moon come together for a new moon. We know that. We take it for granted. But at this time, the birth is in an exciting and powerful place where we can ourselves look at our own inner struggles and decide what we can do to make the world a better place. You can wait for whomever, or you can start with your own consciousness, your own perspective right now. The sun is our life force energy. The moon is our perceptions. And Jupiter is the great guru, teacher, conscious awakener for all. There is, of course, still great stress in the world. You cannot look down the street or even look at the news without seeing it. Children are coming to the United States. They're coming because they know that we will care for them. And there are parents who are literally paying strangers to bring their children here. Our dilemma is, what will we do with tens of thousands of new people? And the exciting part of this, and I do not know how exactly it will play out, except Jupiter is so naturally generous, and Jupiter is such a strong planet for the United States that we'll figure it out. But the exciting thing to watch is who appears to help the children, who appears that we would not expect to help them and to give them a voice in our legal system. After all, Jupiter is lawyers. One of the things that we don't often associate with lawyers is generosity. But who do you think is standing up for these children in the courts? There are lawyers who are working pro bono. What will you give from your heart? What will you reach out to give? Will you actually go down and represent someone who needs you? And so the excitement in August is to see perhaps maybe the politicians are at recess, but to see the people who are literally standing up and going to help the children and to work through this mess. And in many respects, that generosity can be reflected to us and through us in many ways. The first week of August actually begins with the new moon on July 27th. And the first quarter starts on August 3rd. Here, Mercury, the planet of communication, crosses that optimistic Jupiter. And there is so much talk and so many big ideas and so much guidance out there. If you only watch or listen to the familiar voices to you, you will not be able to see it. And yes, I did just flinch because between the grackles and the squirrels, someone just landed something on me. And it's a reminder, of course, that we are not alone. Whether you're standing in the garden or you're standing at the mall, there are people around us, and nature is everywhere, and it demands to be heard. Perhaps this grackle a little too much. Okay, I confess, grackles are one of my favorite birds. There are more immigrants coming through, and there is a lot of talk, even though the legislators are in their annual recess. Perhaps we should all take a recess from trying to figure everything out at one time. Or perhaps we need to take a recess from the inner chatter that every one of us has. Whether you call it monkey mind or whether you call it your superego, doesn't matter to me. But that chatter is powerful and strong. And in many respects, it distracts us from the solution. The month of August, it seems almost as if I'm a broken record. I keep talking about Saturn, Saturn, Saturn. And I talk about Uranus, the revolutionary planet of change. Well, revolution is everywhere. And revolution rarely is peaceful and bloodless. Right now, as we enter the month of August, August 3rd, the first quarter phase of the moon, our perceptions, crosses Mars, anger, and Saturn structure. Uranus is a revolutionary planet, and Uranus and Saturn have virtually been standing still. Uranus turns backwards, we turn within. What does change mean? Are we ready for it? Who wants it? And that Saturn holds the old guard, or it holds the old system. Revolution without a plan is anarchy. Revolution without something to put in its place is simply destruction. The tricky thing with the month of August is that Mars is in a very stressful place in the heavens. Well, what does that mean? I say Saturn's happy, Mars is sad. Well, if Mars is sad, what does that mean? That means that the action or the push of anger, defense, irritation, I want to get it my way, is really upset, if you will. So a well-placed Mars is clear, decisive action. A difficult Mars can be irritation, whether it be standing in line at the grocery store or whether it be international conflict. That type of Mars rears his head and can really start a battle. Well, the thing that's the most important is if you do not stand up and defend against that Mars, you have to, in verbal combat, then there's really no one to fight. But if you're looking at physical combat, you have to be ready to be strong yourself. And that's rather the conundrum that we have in August. War between our own ears, we can work on through reflection and enlightenment. And the opportunity is everywhere for those this month. But what can we say about a country that is invaded? Can we truly tell them to do the same? These are exciting times, and fortunately, we're in a very peaceful place, the United States, where our great battles are between our ears. Now, let's move on to the full moon. The full moon has the moon. Remember, the moon is our perceptions in a place, or nakshatra, or lunar mansion in the heavens called Shravana, the ability to listen deeply with every part of your being. I call this the planet in you. This is your opportunity to listen within. This is your opportunity to look at which leaders you follow. Do you give your power to a political party? Do you want your guy to win no matter what? this full moon is going to bring some of the most interesting and unexpected heroes to the forefront of public social consciousness. We're looking, in many respects, at them to be celebrities, perhaps, but here, between the full moon and the third quarter phase of the moon, we are going to see more people come to the forefront with fascinating answers. I challenge all of us to listen to a viewpoint that we typically would turn away from. The full moon is about being able to see into the darkness, about being able to look at through your perceptions and to see through a different light, perhaps, than you normally would. Right now, this fountain that feeds the birds and everything may be a little loud, so perhaps I should unplug it and make it quiet. Perhaps we would be able to hear more, see more then. But I challenge you, as Venus approaches Jupiter, to look at your own heart. Venus is love and money and compassion, and Jupiter is abundance, and the sun, whom Venus will soon cross, is our own inner life force energy, and the places they are in the heavens allow this to be a most powerful time for people who create through positive imagery and visualization, and for folks who are willing to listen deeply to the inner parts of their being and perhaps come up with a different picture than they thought before. Remember, the full moon simply is the moon having the reflection of the sun. It simply is the sun allowing the moon to come out at night so we can see. But it's up to us to look.